Welcome to Wacky Wednesdays, where everyone has a chance to show off their car mods. And here's this week's winner.
This is my 1988 Volvo 740.
The Volvo 700 series was developed back in the 1970s and the model debuted with the Volvo 760 coming out in 1982. The 740 came out in 1984 as a cheaper alternative, eventually becoming the most popular car in Sweden together with the Volvo 240 through the 80s and 90s. This is the GL model, which is the most basic version of the 740. GLT and GLE was also available with more features as electronic windows, turbocharger and a 16-valve engine. This car has the classic Volvo B230F, also known as the red block engine, which is a 2.3-liter inline 4-cylinder engine with cast iron block, pistons and a aluminum head. This engine is rated at 110 horsepower, being delivered to the rear wheels. The F model features an O2 sensor known as a lambda sound in Volvos, electronic direct injection and a catalytic converter. Carburetted models was also available, as well as the Bosch Cagetronic mechanical fuel injection. This is my beta car. I drive it almost every day to and from work. At 31 years of age and 275,000 miles, it doesn't burn any oil and rides better than many cars I've driven, being only 10 years old, with less than half the mileage. This is indeed a real tank of a car. Gas mileage is acceptable, and I average at 23 miles per gallon mixed driving. However, I do mostly highway and freeway driving. In stop-and-go traffic, it averages at between 15 and 19 miles per gallon, which is about the same as my 1989 Cadillac. The interior of the 740 is classic for an 80s Volvo, featuring a lot of black and blue plastics. Seats are covered in sturdy cloth and are wide and plushy. Legroom is plentiful both for front seat and rear seat passengers. The rear seat is very spacious and comfortably seats 3 adults. The interior storage is complete with a glove box and a center console compartment. The rear seat passengers has 2 seat back pockets. The trunk is very large and easily takes the luggage that 4 passengers might bring, or a subwoofer. This car is equipped with a central locking. Locking or unlocking the driver's door will automatically lock or unlock all doors including the trunk. The same applies if the driver locks the door from the inside. The locks automatically release if someone tries to open the door from inside the vehicle.
The instrumentation is very classic for a 1980s Volvo. To the left we have the fuel gauge, followed by an analog clock, followed by the speedometer, the RPM meter, and finally the engine temperature. As we speak, this car has 411,561 kilometers. That equals to about 275 miles. On the left side of the steering wheel we have the light selector, heated mirrors, fog lights, and rear fog lights. Also on the left side is the blinker lever as usual, complete with controls for high beams and cruise control. On the right side of the steering wheel we have the wiper lever with controls for wiper speed, windshield wash, as well as headlight wash. We also have the ignition key. As most cars sold in Sweden during the 1980s, this one is not equipped with air conditioning. However, you could get it, but it was at a hefty price. Instead, we have a fan controller and a heat slider, which is graded from little to a lot of heat. Below the heat and fan controls, we have the radio, which is obviously an aftermarket one, and a little storage compartment, and an ashtray. And behind the ashtray, you'll find the fuses. This car is equipped with an automatic gearbox, 4-speed with overdrive. Not very rare for this car, but certainly not common in Sweden. In the center console we have the switches for heated seats, a handbrake, completed by a storage compartment.
As most things inside this car, the windows are fully manual and so are the mirror adjustments.
One thing definitely worth mentioning is how easy this car is to work on. Everything is very easy to reach and very easy to fix, and spare parts are dirt cheap. Let's say you needed to do some work on the engine or something mounted on the firewall. Normally you would have to stay bent over for quite a long time, which in the long term is unpleasant. Well, fret not. This car has a solution. Just flip these two hinges up and the hood will do this. Quite an extraordinary feature. Let's say you need to replace some bulbs behind the instrument cluster. Well, not a problem.
I got all these things from the local junkyard, costing me about $2, and I only paid $730 for the entire car in the first place.
I think the 1988 Volvo 740 is pretty straightforward. I would say it's what you would expect from driving a 30-year-old rear-wheel drive car. It's a little bit like driving a small American land yacht. Steering is smooth and pretty much effortless. You need to apply a lot of steering wheel action for something to actually happen. The ride is soft, but with quite a lot of body roll. Acceleration while having only 110 horsepower engine, together with a car that weighs 1,500 kilograms, it's pretty slow. But as I said before, it's nothing that you wouldn't expect from a 30-year-old rear-wheel drive car. This was and is still a car that's popular among young drivers and first car ownerships. Driving it is, as I said, very easy. However, you have to keep in mind that all the weight is on the front wheels and the rear axle is very light. So if the roads are slippery, you can actually feel that the rear end wants to drift, and during winter time it's very easy to get the rear axle to actually skid.
I got myself a 30-year-old Volvo because I wanted something reliable, cheap and easy to repair on my own. It is a neat and quirky little car with a lot of life left. Thank you for watching.
Well, that was this week's video, and to have your car mod shown on my channel here, check this out. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.